They should give us kids waivers. With a lot less.
I'd like to call tonight's special meeting, Wednesday, August 7th, for general purposes to order. And stand for the pledge.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Here.
Present. The Scranton School Board will hold committee meetings for education and operations, buildings and grounds on Wednesday, July 10th, 2019 at 6 p.m. and a special meeting for general purposes at 7 p.m. in the boardroom of the administration building. At this time, the board welcomes public comment. Each speaker will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Union officials will be allowed 4 minutes, and you may not pass your time to any speaker. When your time is up, we kindly ask that you finish your sentence and wrap it up. In order to maintain respect for all points of view, the board requests no clapping, booing, or other form of support or non-support to be used. The board will not tolerate derogatory remarks or personal attacks against any board member or administrator. Debate and dialogue is discouraged during public comment. The first speaker this evening is Mr. Lee Morgan.
Right here. I just came here tonight to voice my opinion on the recovery plan, and I just like to say that I'm totally opposed to the recovery plan, and I think that the most important thing this district could do would be to vote no and put the city's school district into receivership and make the state representatives and the state senators responsible for their inaction and hold the Scranton City Council responsible for all the devious things they've done as they've run the city further and further into debt to capture more federal funds. And I don't see how closing elementary schools is going to lead to anything good, because these children shouldn't be forced out of their neighborhood. And I want the directors to think of the millions and millions of dollars in school assets, buildings, and infrastructures we're going to give away. And who moves into a district that keeps surrendering its assets away in a total lack of leadership? The most important thing you could do is send this school district into receivership. I talked to the coordinator. I just don't see how this plan rolls out. We're at 6.7%, and there's no real solution in sight for the funding inequities that are in front of us, and they've been going on for a very long time. And I don't think the Scranton residents should take it on the chin, and I don't think the school directors should take it on the chin. They created all these pensions, and they underfunded the district. And if you read the Pennsylvania Constitution, it says the state of Pennsylvania is responsible for educating the residents in this state, not the local taxing bodies. And I think that the greatest gift you could do is take them into court. Stand up for yourself, stand up for the residents in this town and the property owners, and let's fight.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. Dr. Miller?
Thank you very much. I just want to start off, first of all, I think it's absolutely a complete sign of total disrespect to the taxpayers and residents of this city to hold a meeting in a little small room, have everybody cramped in here like clowns. You got people lying on the hall, they can't even get in. I mean, where's the respect for the people in the city? That's an absolute disgrace. You should have the meeting down at the high school in an auditorium. People want to come down and speak out, and this is how you treat them? I mean, it's sickening. It really is. You know, I do agree with Mr. Morgan. This is somebody who's been involved in the city for a long time. And, you know, perhaps if some of the elected officials in this community listen to some of the things he and people like Marie and Joan have talked about for a long time, perhaps we wouldn't be in this situation. You know, the problem we have is for decades we've elected one incompetent hack after another, who's been controlled by special interests, controlled by unions. But the problem is they were never controlled by the people, the children, the seniors. And they're the ones that are going to suffer with your suicide plan here. That's what I call it. It's a suicide mission. It's another failed plan. We've heard all these plans one after another. We had Amoroso come into the city, offer his plan. Now you have this plan. And where is it going to lead us to? It's more pain and suffering to the taxpayer. And they've taken enough. The seniors have taken the brunt of the punishment, the average everyday Scrantonian, but more importantly, the children in the city are going to suffer. You know, I graduated in this district, and it's sad to say that 11 years later, I'm actually ashamed to say that I'm a product of this school district. And I never thought I'd say that because I do love this town. But I'm truly embarrassed when I go around. I really am. And, you know, when does it end? You have an opportunity to put your foot down, take a stand, and stand up for the taxpayer for a change. Forget about the unions, the teachers. It's about the children. It's about the taxpayers, because they're the ones that suffer. Closing schools is ridiculous. It doesn't solve the problem. You're going to give away this building now? This is our building. I mean, this is part of the history of this city, and you're going to give it away to a college that continuously gets a free ride, a nonprofit. Let the nonprofits start paying their fair share. The people have been getting a free ride for a long time. I never hear any of you people talk about going after them. Let them carry some of the weight. You're all talk, but no action. And that's the problem we have. And it's been going on for a long time. I agree. Go into receivership. Let the state take over. It's going to terminate your contracts. It's going to do who cares? Because the children and the people in this town have suffered far long, and it's got to end. So I ask you, vote no. The taxpayers can't take anymore. You have an obligation. You were elected to do it. And I hope maybe you finally show some leadership for a change. Thank you.
Thank you. Joan? Joan?
You gotta say it.
Padawanitz?
Yay, okay. I have to agree with the first two speakers. I too think that you should go the way of receivership, and I'll tell you why. I graduated from Central 52 years ago, and this is not the same school district. Okay, I've been retired here for 21 years. And don't get me wrong, and this isn't meant to be an insult, but you people make City Hall look good. Okay? And you have the same problem they do, you know, lack of tax control and corruption. And don't think you don't have corruption within the school district, because you do, and you know it, because you've been under investigation. Okay? Now, I wrote a letter several weeks ago about the Nativity Miguel School. They just graduated their first class of 8th graders, 12 students. Now, I've heard a lot of explanations why the Scranton School District always performs at the bottom in all these metrics that the newspaper tracks year after year. You always come up with zeros across the board. Well, I've heard explanations. Well, we have non-English speaking students, and we have students from low-income families, and we have troubled students. Well, these are refugees who didn't speak English either. And after 4 years in that school, they're looking at becoming physicists and scientists and doctors, and they love school. And I don't know if their teachers have a union. You have to ask them. And they had a facility up in Temple Hesed. Now they're going to Marywood University. And I know that, you know, there are differences. They don't have to maintain buildings and structures like you did. But I think the key, we're worrying too much about the money, and yes, it's important. We're forgetting that our education stinks across the board. I know you have good teachers, and I know you have good students, but you aren't performing compared to other districts in northeastern Pennsylvania, let alone the Commonwealth. So I agree. Let's go into receivership. The state can't do worse than you've been doing the last 21 years. That's all I have to say.
Bob Bolus.
Bob Wallace, Scranton. It's a disappointment, first of all, to be in this tight little room tonight when we have our school, and I say it's our school over the auditorium where we should be in. Not worse than this, to compromise the people who wanted to come here tonight, and that's upon you people. Second of all, the American flag is what to be respected, is to fly higher than any other flag. So I'd like to put that in consideration. You know, one of the main issues, I've been educated in the school district, I've been an employer in this area, I've been here for 57 years as an employer. Nothing is more disturbing than coming around here and seeing where the hell we've gone. You people are here, some are educated, some aren't, but the bottom line is we got teachers that post their education, that they're reaping the benefits of the golden fleece. That's why they're not saying a damn thing about anything, about raises, about cutting pensions, about making cuts. I could take your little budget thing right here. If this were my company, I could cut $10 million without even batting an eye on what you're doing here. This is a fool's list. You need to go into receivership. You need to take it out of your hands, out of our teachers' hands. They need to work, and I need work, not just come in, work half days. Oh, it's snowing a little bit, let's take off and see them at the mall. These are the things that have killed us. But more importantly, at the end of 2 years, where we've educated our kids, we shouldn't have to pay any more taxes. Let the people coming into this area, staying in apartments with 6, 7, 8 kids, let them pay for it. Why should the senior citizens be ripped off and lose everything they have because we're allowing this to go on? People, after 2 years, we're not going to pay taxes anymore. That's why we need receivership. We need somebody to listen. We don't need a board that let us get where we are. And you're the ones that are responsible, and your teachers are the ones that are accountable because they never open their mouth to make a damn change to what they're getting, and they're the ones getting everything, and we're getting nothing for it. Stop putting it to the people of the city. Make the changes that are necessary. Don't give us a raise where you want more money just to patronize more teachers, to leave early, get out of school early, close the school. No, do your consolidations. When we went to grade school here, teachers taught 4 or 5 languages. They taught 4 or 5 subjects, not just I'm an English teacher and you're out the door. Either they become multifaceted or they don't work here. And they work Saturdays. They work every day they need to work. Just like everybody in this room has to work for a change. And let them become accountable to the people in the city, not us become accountable to you people that are working in this city. Get a real job and find out what it's like to work as we do 7 days, 24 hours. And they're going ahead and recovery where we don't pick up the phone and say it's snowing, we can't come out.
Please see up in the front if anybody wants to get in the room.
Thank you.
I just want to make a point here. The sardines out the hallway, I know you're trying to get seating for. However, the first few speakers, unfortunately, really weren't heard. Not that it matters because usually the citizens of Scranton aren't heard anyway. So I think it would be beneficial at least if somebody could sacrifice a microphone so people can hear outside. If that's possible. It's not. I wish too bad we didn't have this meeting held somewhere else.
There's a whole row in the front that's empty. There's a whole row in front.
There's chairs right here. For those who are standing, please search in.
Anybody else want to sit down?
The chair's up front now.
There's chairs right here.
You can sit here, I'll sit up front.
I probably embarrassed everybody, but please, I think everybody needs to hear what everybody's saying. I think it's very important.
I hear them.
I just need to clarify something. This meeting is not to vote on the recovery plan. Proposed preliminary budget is a procedural vote this evening that we're doing. Taxes are not increased with this vote. We must do this every year according to the Taxpayer Relief Act. The voting of the recovery plan meeting will be at the end of the month. August at Scranton County. Okay, the next one is Marie Schumacher.
Yes, I'll be brief. What you just said confuses me because you should have planned for a larger auditorium if this is a regular thing that happens. on
This is a
preliminary
special meeting to
budget.
vote on our preliminary budget.
Well, yes, but if that's a requirement. But anyway, the reasons I came here, the primary one was to see who was here, and maybe you can point them out, from our elected representatives at the state and congressional level. Why aren't they here?
Because they're Republicans.
I mean, we elect them, and what do? They make us feel wonderful when they give us a letter or do something. I'd like to know what they're doing for us. What have they done to fight for us getting our share, our fair share? Okay, that's one. The other question I have is, would somebody please tell me, a couple of years back, you all borrowed a large sum of money when you thought the state was going to be late with funding. What was done with that money? And then the third question I have for you is, when are we going to see some progress in the education of our students?
Thank you. Diana Harris.
Diana Harris. Okay. I don't want to reiterate everything that everybody said, and I'm not too sure going into receivership is a good idea, but you know, I don't know too much about that. What I want to talk about is just the taxes going up 6.7%. Okay. The delinquent taxes are out there. I walk around in West Side all the time. Every single block has a vacant home, one that's dilapidated that needs to be torn down, or one that has a for sale sign on. People are leaving Scranton for all kinds of reasons. I don't want it to be that bad education. I was educated here, my children, my grandchildren, okay, I wanted to reiterate that again, but it's true, I'm staying here. Now, I agree with Marie, where are our state representatives? I think you should put your foot down, the same thing, and say, you know what, someone from the governor's office should come here and sit in one of these meetings. Listen to the people that are saying, look, I can't pay anymore, okay? I equate this to a sinkhole, okay? We all know what sinkholes are. First they're this big, and then they're getting bigger, and then they're getting bigger. And that's how I feel being a property owner in the city of Scranton. One other question that I never got an answer to. I asked if there was some type of fraud insurance that you could have turned into all these bad things that happened in the past years to collect monies that have been embezzled or lost. Do we have anything like that? No? Nobody knows. Okay, I would think most companies have fraud insurance, and if someone embezzles money, they are taken, monies come from the insurance. Okay, I guess I got my answer. Good girl. Good girl.
Ian Ross.
Hi, good evening. My name is Dan Searle. I'll try to speak up so that everyone can hear me. I'm a lifelong Scranton resident. I raised 3 children here. I have my business here. I wouldn't want to take your jobs at all. I give you guys all the credit in the world for trying to take this on. It is, I can't even imagine the pressure and the difficulty in trying to come up with a solution on how to right this ship. I'm here because, like everybody here, I am frustrated, I am angry, I don't know what else to do. I'm not somebody who complains about everything. If I don't have a solution for something, I don't like to bring it up. I am the most pro-teacher person you will ever meet. I think teachers, for the most part, deserve every single dollar that they make, and I think a lot of them should get paid more. because they are tasked with the most important job of all, and that's teaching our kids. The problem is, and this is why we're here to express concern about this recovery plan. If the recovery plan leads to a mass exodus of people leaving the city, it's not a recovery plan. If all I had to do was pay a tax increase on the school district portion of my taxes, I could handle it. My taxes 20 years ago this month when I bought my house over on Jefferson Avenue, I bought my house for $115,000. My taxes were around $2,000. My taxes this year are $9,100. It's not just school district taxes, it's county tax increases, it's city tax increases. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. And I realize this is a giant elephant. Is it a sinkhole? It's not a sinkhole. What happened is we were all together in the same restaurant, and a whole group of people ate knowing that they were going to leave and not pay the bill. And everyone who stayed found out after dinner was over, guess what? You got to pay for all those people who left. And that's what's happening. If the recovery plan does not include a plan to equalize funding for every single student in our school district on the state level, you cannot vote yes to it, because that structural deficit will haunt us. It doesn't matter how many one-time $10 million gifts we get from the state. This is a nightmare. My taxes are going to go up another $2,000 in the next 5 years if this plan gets voted through, and I can't do it. I cannot do it. I cannot pay any more than I'm paying because my property value is plummeting. So please, please go to the state and ask for the funding for each student that we deserve. Please figure out how to do it. I'll drive the bus if you guys want to go.
All right.
Hi, everybody. My name is Bob Shoemaker, and I've lived in this city for 35 years, chose to live here, chose to stay. And I'd just like to reiterate really kind of loud what Dan just said there. Thank you for your service. It's a tough job. You know, I've been on a couple boards in the city, and I thank this job. We appreciate you being here. I am not against the recovery plan. I'm against going into it without fair funding. Okay? I'm going to reiterate that again. Until we get that funding, I know who's fighting for that. Until we get that funding, it makes no sense to move forward. You're going to kill the city. It's already on life support. And the other thing is the taxation. Okay, we have an opportunity in the city to change from the mercantile business privilege tax to a payroll tax. Okay, I saw in the paper where the school board's like, well, we're not really sure. We don't know much about it. We're not sure what we're going to move forward with. How long have we been looking at this problem? We have a mayor now. We have 4 months. You have a guy that's very interested in, has an idea how to move the city forward. It involves moving those taxes, right? We're killing the businesses. We want people to move here. We want businesses to move here. We want a base that's different from all these homeowners, right? I bought my house 7 years ago. $4,800 in taxes I paid. This year, $7,200. Oh my God. In 7 years. And where's it going to go? I have family, they have a house on Long Beach Island. They are the 3rd house from the ocean. They pay less taxes than I do. And I live in Scranton. That's all I have. Thank you. I appreciate your time.
Hello there, Tom Point from the News section. Taking a look at this budget, it's completely unbalanced, and the problem with it, as always with all government, is you're presented with a blank check. I can't balance it, I won't cut it, I'll go out, I'll tax more. Recently in the news, we've had articles. We're going to take back people's houses for a $300 garbage tax. Why is $300, that small amount, such a big problem? And I'm not talking about officials who haven't paid it for umpteen years for multiple properties. I'm talking about for seniors in the city who are living tooth and nail, and just on a string of a budget. That $300, we're looking at taking their houses. Now we want to add an extra 6.7% on top of that already banana peel. What's going to happen to those people? Is your 6.7% going to be the tilting point that allows you to rob seniors of their house and kick them out because they cannot pay the other expenses to keep them in their houses? It is a sad way of working eminent domain. I'm going to tax you to the point where we can come in and we can take your property from you. You can't pay for your property. It doesn't matter that you've owned it for 50 years, 100 years. You can't pay for it now. You're not entitled to it now. Why? Because we have the blank check. We've spent more than came in, and we aren't unwilling to take those hard choices, to make those cuts where they really need to, or work on a budget that'll truly work. I've taken a look at the budget. I also work for a large company. When the collapse happened in the housing market, my company for 2 years put a pay freeze. We got no raises, we got no benefits, we got nothing. Our response to that was we could either stay in our jobs and have a job, or we could leave. Benefits in government, the golden packages, have always been the killer. And looking at the budget here over the number of years, those benefits continue to cost more and more and more. And I'm not talking about retroactively going back and stripping past people of benefits they've earned, but working a staged program to reduce some of those benefits for people coming into it now. Though I understand it's unpopular with unions and teachers, it's necessary, because at this point, we're over a third of the budget.
Mr. Flynn, time.
Yeah, we're over a third of the budget alone on benefits.
Thank you. Is it Noah?
No, Noel?
Noel?
Then it's at Christmas time.
I have a daughter, Noel.
Okay. I'm Noelle Ancroft. I've lived in Scranton for I've owned a property for over 20 years. We've had a family business in the Scranton area for over 60 years. Just like everybody else in this room, we are very concerned of what's going on. Nobody wants your jobs. Nobody wants to sit in that position. I was asked one time, do you want to be a school board director? I said, do you want me to go to jail? I just think it's a very hard job, because so many people are depending on you and your decisions you are making for our future, for our kids' future, for the elderly, everybody in this community. I have older neighbors that are terrified, I can't make this meeting, that are terrified of losing their homes. They want to be in their homes. Their homes are history to them. And at the rate it's going, they're going to find themselves out on the street, because it's going to be, do I pay my taxes or do I eat? Well, maybe if their name was Ken Bond, they could just eat, because we know this is a city thing, but it all ties together. It's unfortunate. I don't know, he said the end of the month is when the vote is going to come. Well, I know as city council just did, which I was very offended by as a citizen, we had them hold an election for anybody that was interested in for an interim position for mayor. Okay, well guess what? I'm going to leave my position, and I'm not trying to take this out on you personally, but I just.
We are interchangeable, it's true.
Yeah, it's just like, people hired you for a position to be there and fight for them and want you to stay possibly the quarterback on this team. But yet, wow, mayor, I don't know how enticing that seems nowadays in this. I mean, really. I mean, there are people that are putting themselves forward and going to run for this position, you being one. I mean, to me, that is very difficult. You know, it's putting a Band-Aid on a hemorrhage that is uncontrollable. Anyway, I just ask you to please take into consideration the citizens. I know it comes down to your personal opinion and what we give to you. But again, these taxes, my property taxes have gone up numerous also. I love the city of Scranton. I often have been asked, why don't you just move to Dunmore? It's a mile up the road. I love Scranton. I want to love Scranton. But at the rate we're going, it's really not looking too good. We are really a black eye to many. It's awful. I just want honesty, integrity, loyalty from you people and the people that are asking you to grasp them in your hands and save them from what can be. Thank you.
You're welcome.
My back to anybody, sorry. Hi, I'm Holly Mead. I'm a special ed teacher at Northeastern Intermediate School. I wanted to let you know that one of our best teachers left our district, Miss Kay. She was in our district for 4 years, teaching in an emotional support classroom with our most challenging students. She was fantastic. She wrote excellent IEPs, was prepared for meetings, handled parents well, really taught her students to become better writers. But her best quality is that she loved her students, and they knew it. They could trust her. They became better behaved when she was there, and they knew no matter what happened at home, she would be there in the morning to help them. Sadly, Miss Kay left in July to take a position in North Pocono. This is the future of our district. Our best and brightest young teachers are leaving to go love and inspire other students, not ours. Our district is in recovery now. There are 2 definitions for recovery. 1 is a return to a normal state of health, mind, or strength. 2 is the action or process of regaining possession or control of something that has been stolen or lost. So we are all in the process of trying to restore our strength and state of educational health. We are also in the process of regaining the money that was stolen from our students by past school boards and past administrators. When we recover from something, it's a long, hard road with a lot of challenging days and nights. It's a struggle just to get up every day and try again. That's the state we are in right now. We are all struggling, every one of us, from the maintenance staff that has been asked to cut back, from secretaries that have been asked to do more, from administrators that are now doing the job that 2 or 3 people used to do, from the board trying to decide how to vote, and to the teacher who's being asked to increase PSSA scores, increase academic levels, identify and create intervention for struggling learners, all while being professionally developed less. But let's focus on the students who are being asked to leave their schools because they are closing, seeing their favorite teachers like Miss Kay leave, having less art, less gym, less music, and less library than ever before. And knowing in middle school for the 2nd year in a row, they will be sitting in 4 academic classes back to back for 56 minutes without a break at the age of 11, 12, 13, and 14 years old. In reality, who are we asking the most of? It's the kids. We need to recover in a way that benefits our students because they have the least amount of control in the situation, and they're the ones that are being impacted the most. In order for this to go smoothly, I would suggest talking to parents and children about the plan, sending a letter home, posting it on the website about how this will help their child in the long run. Not only posting a 216-page document on the website. Please give these parents something they can understand and read in 1 or 2 pages. The next step I would do in talking about the recovery plan is talk to your employees. We are not just cogs in a wheel. We're the ones responsible for the educational outcomes of these children. The only information I received in 1 email was from downtown is that an attorney is available for us. The point I'm trying to make is that the point I'm trying to make is that we are all the future of the Scranton School District, and we all need to be informed and guided through this process of clarity and transparency. We need to be told how it's going to work. We need the details. We need to be asked and consulted on how to make it work and how to make it work well. I think the students, parents, and taxpayers and employees feel totally left out of this process. My question that I know you can't answer right now, which I hope that will change, and someone writes it down and it's answered when I come back in August 26th, what will the board do to better inform all of us step by step of our district future plans? And they're not allowed to answer you, that's why they didn't answer your question.
Thank you, Tom.
Good evening, directors. I would like to ask the board and everybody in this room to please have a moment of silence. For the last few days, I I think this country has been ripped apart by what happened in El Paso, Texas, and Dayton, Ohio. I listened the other afternoon or morning, whatever it was at that point, a gentleman that was being interviewed said he did not know that blood had a smell, and they had to bring in fire hoses to clean the streets. That reminded me of something that happened in Tiananmen Square. And when you go into work every day, as all of us do, and we don't know if we're going to have an active shooting business going on in our schools, we're trained for it. I think everybody in this country has been trained. But when that hits, when that reality hits, as it just did in El Paso, in Dayton, Ohio, I don't think any training is enough training. So I'm asking everybody to be a bit calm and generous with their compassion right now. I'm asking the board, please allow for a moment of silence.
Do that now.
Thank you, Barbara.
God bless. That concludes our public comments for this evening. Now we're going to the consent agenda part of our agenda. Is there anyone that would like any of these items removed from the consent agenda?
What are the plans for formalizing
Can you summarize that conversation, because it got lost back there?
Mr. Jenna Webster.
Use the microphone, please. I don't think the microphones are on.
Mr. Jenna, can you go to a mic?
Can you hear me?
I hear you, yeah. I couldn't hear Bob at all.
Mr. Schuster asked Dr. Finan a question about memorandum
So as part of
agreement.
the plan, there's a recommendation to formalize our agreements that we have with other organizations with memorandums of understanding. And there's 2 memorandums of understanding under the consent agenda tonight. So I was making sure that we follow this process to have correct memorandums of understanding with Lackawanna College for these 2 uses of our facilities.
The Lackawanna College football agreement has been in existence for the past 4 or 5 years. It's just a renewal. They want to use our practice fields. They want to use our Memorial Stadium for practices and their games. And they're being charged per practice for a certain rate during the day. If they're coming at night, they're being charged another a rate on top of that because of the lights. And they're getting a typical fee for a Saturday afternoon football game, just as though we would offer to prep or anybody else. So that's been an existing contract just renewed. Lackawanna College has asked us to be in partnership for a 3-year pact for baseball and softball use of Scranton High's fields, which are in rough shape. They're in very, very poor shape. Mr. Anderson said between the baseball and softball team, I'm going to say less than 10 games were played because the fields were not up to par last year. So what Lackawanna College wants to do, the agreement is going to be is that they completely revamp those fields for play. And of course, just like the agreement we have for prep, we do get first priority. They will have to work around our schedule. Our kids still get first for games, practices, but Lackawanna wants to play their home softball, home baseball. Let that be the venue over the next few years while you're going to see those fields flourish, completely be revamped from top to bottom, scoreboards,
playing facility, dugouts revamped, equipment brought in. So that was the deal that I was asked to put together, and it's a 3-year plan. Yeah, they're both in, it's gonna be in a resolution for our next school board meeting, and there's a contract between us and Lackawanna that will be signed. So
And
that's,
Mr. Schuster, this is not new to the district. We have been doing this for years. So I don't know if the memorandums of understanding that you were referring to is what Dr.
So I
Biden
know
was
that we've
referring to
always
in the
had
plan.
an understanding. I didn't know if this tightened that language, and we, gone over it with a fine tooth comb and we go to go with what's in this one.
Well, baseball and softball are new.
baseball, softball.
They are new, and it follows in line. They just have agreements with additional funds into the fields that we don't have right now. So it will benefit our students.
The work that they're gonna do to those 2 fields, I mean, they're gonna make it look like Yankee Stadium, both of those fields. The work that they're going to devote to those 2 fields far outweighs what we could charge them for a rental fee just next year alone. I mean, it's gonna be in the tens of thousands of dollars that they're gonna put into those 2 fields. Like I said, those 2 fields are in rough shape. That Mr. Anderson said that there was only between the softball and the baseball team, there was less than 10 home games that they were able to use those fields for if they were rough shape.
Any other
Want to get them up to par.
questions for Mr.
Forgive me if I missed this, but what is the timeline for that work?
They're working as soon as you vote on it tomorrow. They're gonna start, because they want to get it ready for fall ball. So they're ready to go down there and do the work.
All right, so do we have any more questions? Does anything need to be
You don't have the
sold?
money it
Are we
needs.
all okay?
Good.
Okay,
And then
may I have a motion
They're gonna train her.
to approve the items that are listed under the consent agenda? Do I have a second? So we don't have it on the question, we already asked. Roll call?
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Martin? Mr. McAndrew?
John, speaking, I just.
Stay there. I was gonna move up front.
I'm just gonna steal my water.
No problem.
Yes. Budget and Finance Director Pogle?
To the members of the Board of Directors of the City of Scranton, the Superintendent and the Budget and Finance Committee present the following resolution for your consideration. Whereas the Special Sessions Act of 2006 established a timeline of events related to calendar year school district budget process, and whereas the timeline established a deadline of August 7, 2019 to adopt the 2020 preliminary budget, and whereas the Board of Directors' obligation to vote is dependent upon the Board's intention to consider a tax increase above the Act 1 index established by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, and include the request of exceptions to Act 1 from the Department of Education, and now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Directors of the School District of the City of Scranton hereby approves the 2020 preliminary budget with a real estate tax rate of 142.07 mils, with all other taxes remaining at the current level. The Board authorizes District Administration to seek approval from the Department of Education for any exceptions to Act 1 that the district may be entitled. Be it further resolved that the copies of the preliminary budget as adopted be made available for public inspection through the Office of the Secretary of the School Board, the district website, and the Albright Memorial Scranton Public Library. The Board of School Directors said officers shall advertise the action hereby taken in accordance with the law and be subject to approval of all documentation by the district solicitor. Respectfully submitted.
On the question?
I think a few points of clarity I'd like to have. And just so everyone in the audience understands, firstly, this doesn't mean that we're actually going to raise the taxes to the 6.7%. Is that correct?
That is correct. This action does not commit the school board into raising taxes in December to the millage of 142%.
Right. Nor does the recovery plan call for that complete tax increase, does it?
How does my
to go with myself, like, I think the public needs to be aware of that. I know that it's been reported that we're gonna increase taxes to 6.7%. That's scary to me. But, and the reason why that we just do this to have the opportunity to do it. We've done it in the past. I don't know if the public was informed of that, but we've done this multiple times in the past and have never done it. We just did it just in case. And then when we do that, the money that we receive in extra taxes has to be targeted to specific areas for us to get it. So I know, and I share most of your concerns tonight. First of all, I just want to apologize, you know, how proud we are here, but normally this is just a meeting, a protocol meeting that's held here, but you know, we've been rotating all the regular meetings in larger facilities, so I apologize for that. But I just want to let you know that, first of all, taxes won't be levied until December, so a lot of things can happen until then. I mean, everybody's championing and want to step up and fight for fair funding. If that comes, we amend it. I don't want to say we should lose hope, and I kind of feel like that's the vibe we're getting. And just another quick thing, so questions like individual questions, we're not allowed to answer. I don't necessarily agree with that in this forum, but that's just the rules, and we all collectively play by the rules. But please know that in any of your individual questions, you can email us directly, especially the one regarding fraud, because I know that we were looking into a school was overcharged by a bus company, and it was insurance that covered that. I think it was down in Hanover. So I know we're looking into that. So that kind of answers your question. But any direct questions, or please feel free that you can reach out to us via email. And also, I know Dr. Feynman said she would be available to anyone, all parties, anybody that would like to have the plan explained better to them, or certain areas of concern. So please be aware of that, and she's reachable by email also.
And I am available August 15th, and I'll set it up at the high school auditorium, and I will answer all questions starting at 10 o'clock, and I'll go till about 8 o'clock at night. So I'll be there. Thank you.
On the fair funding note, actually, there's an organizational meeting. We're looking to take the fight to Harrisburg. There's a lot of people in the community who stepped up. A gentleman by the name of Mike Williams was here last night, came to talk to us about it. And the meeting is Monday, August 12th, 6:30 at the Trip Park Community Center. The idea is to start organizing people to possibly get a train of buses going straight to Harrisburg to take the message to the Capitol. And the idea behind it is that we've been taking the message out to the public as much as we can, and they're starting to listen, but they didn't listen enough. So now it's time to start taking the message directly to Harrisburg and bringing busloads of Scrantonians down to say that it isn't fair. So if you can make it, just once again.
What's the date again?
It's Monday, August 12th. It's going to be 6:30 at the Trip Park Community Center. So hopefully we can see a lot of faces there.
And I think it is important to note that we did go to all 17 schools. We did go to neighborhood associations, and we presented the fair funding argument that we have. We came up with the PowerPoint that's been going around and spread throughout Harrisburg. I've been to Harrisburg, I think, 4 times in the past 18 months. I think just about everyone in this board has been there at least once. And I've been championing this cause for years. I've worked diligently to do that, and many of the people on the board have been there through all of that. So we are fighting every single day for that, and I'm going to continue to fight. And I do have faith in some of our legislators. I know that Marty Flynn and John Blake, in prior years, we've got $2 million and $6 million, and even this year we've got about $8 million. But the problem is they're all one-time fixes, as was mentioned. And every year we have to keep going through this and restarting and trying again, where we are the lowest funded school district that has over 7,000 students in the whole state of Pennsylvania. We are the lowest. Our kids mean the least financially. It's the sad state of affairs we've come to. And a lot of the onus is on on the state House and Senate and in their appropriations committees throughout the years. We've been forgotten about. And it's a sad state of affairs, but I think if we make our voices heard, I don't think this is over for the year. I think we will get more money. We just have to stay on them, and we have to show that we're going to unite. We're all on different pages a lot of times when we have our discussions and these meetings happen, but I think one thing we can be united in is that our kids matter as much as every other kid in the state of Pennsylvania.
And I can tell you that as of recently as yesterday, the legislators have been working for additional funds for this district, and the 2 analysts that I work with are in Harrisburg again, fighting for additional funds. So it's still in process.
Just to add
important if everyone here could bring somebody else with them and come to this meeting on Monday night, because pressure is what's gonna count on this thing. And I agree with what PJ said. There's some optimistic noises and light coming out of this thing. But this is the reason that we're here in this situation. We have been underfunded by the state of Pennsylvania to the tune of tens of millions of dollars a year. When you compare us to other urban districts, it's like we don't even belong in the same state. It's unexplainable how it could have happened, but it's happened, and it's gone on for a long time, and the only way it's going to stop is if everybody gets angry and mad and persistent and keeps the pressure on. They're politicians. They like the city of Scranton when it comes to election time. Let's show them that it's not a guarantee anymore. Let's show them that this is what we have to have. Our kids, our children are being underfunded. Don't look at it as a tax issue. Don't look at it as whether or not we're doing our job properly. Understand one thing, there's nothing in this plan, there's nothing in this situation that we are in now that's going to help us unless we get the money that we deserve. We can't pick up $15 million or $20 million a year. That's out of our reach. This is the obligation of the state, of the legislature and the governor to step up and fund us the way they do. The most funded district in the state of Pennsylvania is York. Who lives in York? The governor. Who else lives in New York? The Auditor General. The two highest elected state officials. They're getting over $9,000 a student, and we're getting $40-some hundred a student. That can't happen. Please help us on this. Come to this thing on Monday. Thank you.
Roll call.
I just do want to raise one other point, even though I believe we've drifted a bit from the question here, but the information needs to get out there. Dr. Cannon, a few people raised the point about the recovery plan needs to include the funding initiatives. Can you talk a little bit about that, because I believe you are legally bound not to. Am I correct?
Thank you, yes. The recovery plan has to be doable and measurable. I can't promise you something in a recovery plan that I can't deliver. And I can't deliver fair funding. That is not in my purview to do that. It is from the legislature. And that's where the action has to take place. What I can do is help guide everything in that delivery plan. So I can't put anything in that delivery plan, in the recovery plan that I can deliver. And that's why fair funding is not in there. It doesn't mean that I don't think that you should advocate for it. I do. And I think what you're doing is exactly that. And again, I know that your legislators in this area are working very hard. But you're not the only school district in the state. There are 499 others. And so it's a process. But that's why it's not in the plan. Doesn't mean I don't believe you shouldn't get more money. Of course, if we had more money, we had the funding that would be equal to where we should have it. It would make, I wouldn't be here. It would make your jobs much easier. We don't have that availability. I wasn't able to write that in the plan, but I certainly support your efforts.
So the efforts should support the plan.
That's right. We have to support the plan and then move forward. And hopefully, again, if we can get money that will help us to get to solvency, we can amend this plan, as I said, multiple times, right? And that's what we should also do.
Roll call.
Mr. Martin? Yes. Mr. McCann?
Yes.
Mr. Norton? Yes. Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Bordet?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
Peterson?
Operations Director Borthwick.
Members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, the Superintendent, and the Operations Committee present the following resolution for your consideration. Be it resolved, the Operations Office has received a quote from Cosgrove North End Plumbing to supply and install a water heater in the pool gym area of Scranton High School at a cost of $19,300. Be it further resolved, the Scranton School Board hereby approves Cosgrove North End Plumbing to supply and install a water heater at Scranton High School for the above quoted price. Respectfully submitted.
question.
I just do have a question. In looking through some of this information, we have notes dated July 11th saying there was a walkthrough that 4 companies participated in the spring of 2019. It says approximately March. And the proposal that we received in our most recent package, we have been provided previous to this meeting, is dated 2/13/2019. Can anyone explain why? There's information here that says, and it does say approximately March, I acknowledge.
7/11/2019 is the date that this document was prepared. Explaining that 4 companies walked through. One company gave us a bid. The other company, one determined they were not able to get the appropriate equipment needed. Another said they could not provide the materials and did not attend the walkthrough. And a third did walk through, but said that the job was too big for them to handle. So the date you see on the top of those notes are the date those notes were prepared.
Right, I understand all of that. My concern is that this says approximately March was when the walkthrough took place. And the proposal is dated February 13th, 2019, which also concerns me a bit because this was brought to us very last minute, last month. And if this was, I mean, unless I missed something, this is entirely
So
possible.
understand, we do not have an operations director. So trying to juggle all of the projects we have and building a timeline on when they need to be done is probably why the dates don't coincide. When I received the information, I brought it to the board. The board asked for more information. I provided that additional information. We need a new water heater at Scranton High School. The timeline is ticking away before school starts, and we're able to get that done.
And I think this work may need to proceed. I understand that's realistic, but you can understand my confusion with, and forgive me, I just noticed this today.
I really can't because I may not have what you have in your hand. I'd like to see it.
This says approximately, I'm sorry, I really didn't notice. That says approximately March. But this proposal is dated February. So if walkthrough is March, that's proposal February.
Yeah. You got caught back there.
And it does say approximately March. I mean, I think approximately March is happening yesterday.
No.
So,
The thing we talked about, asking if they were going to fill it. Yes.
Well, we find out.
Federal position.
What would you see?
Go back and look. It's not gonna be involved.
Well, go back and look where, Mr. These notes were put together in the operations office, the notes that you see. She says approximately March.
would this walkthrough be on schedule?
You can sign in, somebody got to sign in.
It's not.
All right, if you want to table it yet again,
No.
that is up to
We need
you.
the repairs, we need the hot water, the school's gonna open, I get it, but these are little things that get us in trouble.
I mean,
I don't, yeah. Well, you got me. I'm very sorry. Luann, you said that
Yeah, it was
you
in
were here
March.
the last time you were
Yes,
here.
it was in March. I don't have the exact date, and we did not write it down, and I don't have that great of a memory.
and
But-
there is every chance that this proposal should be dated
Well-
3/13, and it's dated 2/13. I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I just
Well,
think it needs to
know
be
that the
clarified.
issue had been ongoing, that wasn't a new issue. So they may have submitted this issue is going on for more than a year. More than a year, because it was going on when I got there in August. of last year, but it was months prior to my arriving at Scranton High School that the water heater was not working. So you could have one from February from them. That may have been one that they submitted then, but in March, Joe Slack did a walkthrough, I was with them. And apparently the job was too big for those other companies because they're located in the attic and it's very hard to get them out of the attic. So these are probably the only ones with the capability of having the equipment to do the job.
So what you're saying is it's possible.
That they did not ever submit a bid, they came, they walked through, they looked at it and went, I'm out. I think that's what happened.
They did not submit a bid.
Right.
Because
Very
they
possible.
said they were out, and
Yeah,
that's what
the job
notes
was really
say.
huge. It's a huge job. But there's no hot water for the kids to shower with, so we really need water.
For over a
Yeah,
year?
I don't want to.
Huh?
For over a year?
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna lie to you, over a year. I'm not saying Dr. Kirian knew about that, though. You know, I'm not saying that. I found out in August of 2018. And so we have been working on it and working on it and working on it. So it very well could be a
I finally get
February.
it, bring it to you, explain the situation. There's a slight discrepancy in when the notes were typed and when all of the information came in. I'm sorry, but we need a water heater. And I've done the best I can to try
I
to
am
explain everything
Not
to you.
trying to hold up this project. I certainly do not want to take a cold shower after wish that on anyone.
Well, they have been.
So that sounds like a terrible, terrible thing.
All right.
I don't want to hold up this project, but I think these are, like someone else said, those are those little discrepancies that can get us hung.
Roll call, Jenny.
Roll call.
Mr. McDonald?
Yes.
Mr. Martin?
Yes.
Mr. Vogel?
Yes.
Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Whitman?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Wagner?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
Thank you for the water heater.
Yes.
The children will thank you.
Yes, they will.
Appreciate it.
Personnel director work with.
To members of the Board of School Directors of the City of Scranton, is the recommendation of the Superintendent of the Personnel Committee that the attached list of appointments, assignments, resignations, and leaves of absences is approved. Appointments are effective upon receipt of proper criminal records, immigration, and medical and child abuse reports. Salaries are in accordance with collective bargaining agreements respectively submitted.
On the question.
On the question, I'd like to make a motion to provide this full out section.
Alright, I'm just gonna repeat. Director Schuster asked to divide this and pull out section E.
Can we go live?
They're new positions.
Are they new positions, Jim? Are we gonna discuss it, Mr. Schuster? Because we're trying to
Yeah,
determine.
that's my discussion, so my point of view is that they're new positions. I can see it.
Are they new positions or are they?
So we divided the vote
Are
into
they
separate votes?
confirmed that they're new positions?
You'll be removing those from that resolution.
We're all asking, are they included in the 12 that the board had approved? Are these included in that number, or are they above and beyond that number?
Yes, when I came on board, I was told that we should hire 12 PCAs, and that's what we did, and I provided the board with that information. The July 10th agenda that you have in front of you has 7 PCAs. This agenda tonight has the remaining 5 for a total of 12. Those are the positions that the board approved for the new classroom.
So that is what we were approved to do. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
Mr. Schuster, does that clear it up for you?
In December of 2018, there was addition to the budget related to special ed. I believe it was 12 special ed teachers and also 12 special ed paraprofessionals or PCAs. So if these are those 12 that we're referring to, the answer is yes.
Sure, question. They're on the PCAs.
So they're not new positions.
They're on the PCAs. And they're wondering if these are part of the 12 to fill or are these
Are you guys asking me a question? Oh, I'm sorry, I was in the ladies' room. I'm
Okay,
sorry.
they're new positions, but are these for new students? Is that my understanding
The
also?
PCAs that were hired were the ones that were approved last December.
Not correct, but they were for students that came into the district
Correct.
this year that required that.
Either they came into the district this year,
Or
or they
identified-
developed behaviors
or
that
identified
warranted
as
the
needing
need.
that.
Correct.
Are these positions that have to bring into IEPs? We're gonna be out of
Yes.
IEPs due to that?
Yes, these are, if we don't have them, then we're exposed to litigation, yes. There's a substantiated need in the IEP.
There's 12 IEPs that states that these are required.
Correct,
12
yes.
different students.
Correct. Yes, there's there's patterned issues, whether they're medical or behavioral, which indicated the need for a personal care assistant, and it is stated in the IEP, which means that the district is obligated to provide the services to the student.
Just to reiterate, these 12 positions were presented by you and approved.
Correct. They were presented and approved last December.
I mean, the reason is, the concern is, we hired a couple last week, approved last month, and a couple this month.
Right.
But they were added in the budget. I stand
Right,
corrected.
right. Because what happened was we had to, there was a bidding process that had to be initiated. So the persons who were substituting in the district had the first opportunity to apply for those jobs, and so they transitioned in their status from substitute to employee within the district. And then once that was finished, we then had to repost and interview non-substituting PCAs.
Okay, so are we gonna do a second on the original here then?
Taking the vote to five.
Yeah, I did send.
I didn't hear her.
So there'd be a vote on tonight.
So we're gonna.
We're gonna vote on this, or we're gonna separate?
A motion was made and seconded to separate, so we have a file through the vote. And then-
Unless
that's
Tom
what we
would
have.
like to rescind his motion.
These are all in specific individuals' IEPs.
Correct, yes.
One quick question. So I
Sure.
understand the medical part, like a 504. So you need someone, God forbid, they have to, change a diaper or something. So that's a one-on-one. So if any of these positions provide services to more than one child, I'm not saying the medical part. I'm saying,
No.
so these are technically one-on-ones and they're TS.
Yeah, and let me
TSS,
explain.
title today.
I think it's important that you all, just as a reminder, understand that these are billable services through access for reimbursement from the state. So they have to be assigned to a specific student, otherwise we can't bill. These positions will be covered through our access funding. Any other questions?
Okay, I have a question. Mr. Schuster, are you gonna rescind that? And if you do, what's the process to rescind?
It says the sentence.
That's it? And then we go on? Do I have a second?
These positions are totally covered under access fund.
They are eligible for full reimbursement through access, and that is how, and Pat can attest to this, that is how we are billing for them. They were not coming out of the district budget per se.
In December, when we budgeted for these positions, they were budgeted in the general fund without any additional access increases in revenue for it. I think what Ms. Bass is saying, if I'm understanding correctly, is that the services they provided would be billable to drive in access revenue for the school district that we're gonna later on about now. Sharon?
Correct. Every hour that each of these persons devotes to one student is billable through the state. And we are doing that, so we're generating more revenue through access to come back into the district.
Each of these individuals is assigned to a specific individual administrator.
Correct, that's how it has to work. If they're servicing like an entire classroom or more than one, then it doesn't count for access reimbursement. It's a direct service reimbursement.
And then, once that individual graduates, do we know what grades each of these children are in?
We do, but we have an ongoing perpetual need. We have more needs for PCAs than we do district employed persons, so we're contracting at a much higher rate beyond these 12 people. We'll always have a greater demand than we have resources to fill within the district.
But in these specific cases, we are opening ourselves up to not providing this service.
Oh yeah, we don't have a choice. If it's in their IEP, we have to provide the service.
Okay, so I want to clarify, because we have all these conversations going on. You rescind Okay. So now we have the on the questions completed.
Five PCs.
We're gonna roll call.
He wanted to take these five out because they say all new, meaning they're new to the district. They thought they were new. They weren't budgeted for it. That they gotta change that where it says new because it's not vacant. It's very confusing.
Yes. Okay, meeting is adjourned.
All his sticks, and I'd like to make a comment, please.
Oh, sorry.
In full transparency to all of the board members, all of the senior staff present, and the citizens and stakeholders who are here. I am available to the board 24/7. They all know it. They have my cell number, my email, they text me, they can text me anytime, day or night. And I am available to get them the information they want. In order to prevent embarrassing moments and catching people off guard, I would appreciate if the board would read what we send them and forward any questions to me. You know that I get back to you immediately, if not sooner. So I would appreciate that courtesy from the board. Under what Ms. Mead said earlier was we have people here doing 2 and 3 jobs. Our senior staff has dwindled. We're working on a skeletal staff. I have taken on much more than any superintendent I know would agree to. So I would appreciate the courtesy. If you have questions, give me the time to get the answers for you. And that goes both ways. If I have questions, you're there for me, but you know that I'm always there for you. And this evening I felt as though this was some kind of, we're trying to embarrass you. And that's happened at more than one occasion. Thank you, Ms. Dixon.
We have one more resolution.
Oh, you have another resolution?
Yes, second page.
Oh, okay. It's not on my agenda.
It's like, yeah, sometimes you know what
Okay. 5 minutes, never mind, sorry.
So, to the members of the Board of Directors of the City of Scranton, it is the recommendation of the Superintendent and the Personnel Committee the following is approved. Whereas an agreement has been reached in the matter of the Scranton Federation of Teachers Grievance number G1-19, and therefore be resolved, the grievance is hereby granted on the terms and conditions of the attached. Respectfully submitted. Sorry.
On the question. Roll call.
Mr. Copel? Mr. Schuster?
Yes.
Mr. Wood?
Yes.
Mr. Duffy?
Yes.
Mr. Marcus?
Yes.
Ms. Sheehan?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Dixon?
Yes.
Mayor Bartlett?
Okay, I don't have any more on my agenda.
I do have one thing, and certainly not in an effort to surprise anyone, but Dr. Curie, you and I did discuss that Mr. Lappin would have an update about the insurance for the Whittier
Yes.
project.
And we have that update for you.
Yes, we do. We heard back yesterday that the insurance carrier had reached out to the homeowner to, I guess, understand the facts of the situation. They've also requested to speak to a member of our maintenance department. We provided them with the contact information. I don't believe that was yesterday they were able to get in touch with them, but I'm sure they follow up with them today.
I'm sorry, we weren't able to get in touch with you.
A member of our maintenance staff that we assigned as a point of contact. The next steps, they would like to see the original plans from the building to determine, I'm gonna forget the word, but water drainage prevention, I guess. And that's what we're in the process of contacting the architect and engineer to obtain.
And I believe, Mr. Jordan, you've made that contact.
I did, it's Highland. That got shut down. I did. The original work was done by Highland Associates. I reached out to them. We're waiting for that information.
And I know that we've received a lot of information about the work going on at Armstrong. Could we be updated about that and the sprinkler and the questions related to
Spoon.
bidding to,
Yes.
conflict of interest with the taxes and
Absolutely.
information that we
All
received.
right, so, just to reiterate, so everyone is in the loop. Paul Gordy is the principal of West Scranton Intermediate School. I reached out and asked for a principal to, during the summer months, give me some assistance with all of these projects. Mr. Doherty stepped forward. We are not paying him any additional money. He is helping us to manage some of these large projects. He has an update for you, I'm sure, on Armstrong. What was the other one?
Armstrong, the sprinklers.
The sprinklers at Scranton High, we do have an update on that.
And then also, I had raised a question about some of the companies that we have been dealing with that sprinkler repair, and I believe also with sidewalks at John Adams.
Yes.
Just to clarify, given the report from E-Collect and our bidding.
And we have information
our
on that
policy
for you.
610.
All right, so, Mr. Doherty, if you would be so kind.
Well, thank you very much for allowing me to speak here this evening. It was really an honor to step up and try to help a little bit throughout the course of the summer. I'm not only an employee, I'm a resident, I'm a taxpayer. My kids go to school here. My mom still lives in the city, so I was happy to give up some of my time to come down and do what I can. Certainly, I hope I'm providing some level of assistance.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You don't have to thank you. When we came down, one of the first things, that kind of came across my plate was, we have significant HVAC air conditioning heating unit issues going on within Armstrong. When I was called up there early or mid-July, when you walked in the building, you would almost feel like there was going to be a thunderstorm. Relative humidity was up in the 90s, which, if you're in a building, that's never a good thing. We had multiple air quality control tests going on throughout the last couple of weeks. The air quality is really not that bad. It's not much different than what's going on outside, which is a positive thing. But we have to get the humidity issues under control. We're dealing with units. Every room has an individual heating and air conditioning unit. There's approximately 40 of them, and they're 51 years old. As part of the ESCO project, what happened was they came in, they put new controls on those units. It really didn't address a lot of the water valve issues, and that's what we're finding, that we're having significant issues in these air conditioning units, and that's something we have to get under control. There have been multiple companies in so far looking at the scope of this work, and that's really got to be the priority. Armstrong last year, and this certainly predates me, and many of you probably have more information on this than me, but Armstrong had similar issues with humidity last summer, and I think it was much worse last summer. The extent of oil not much worse last summer, but I'm not confident the underlying cause was ever found last summer, and that's my goal, to find out that, when I take this hat off and I jump back into West Scranton Intermediate School, that I know that Armstrong's being taken care of. Right now, we have a good number of industrial dehumidifiers running in that building to keep the humidity down around 50. Now, our concern is when that gets pulled out and we're ready to open school, we have to make sure that's maintained. So again, we have companies that are in there assessing the work. It looks like we might be replacing some water valves, and I'm sure Dr. Kieran will bring in that information to you if that's what the assessment comes to. But somehow we have to control the chilled water that's being sent to the units. And again, we're dealing with units that have a lifespan of 30 to 35 years. So that's something that's
so sorry.
part of it,
Let me just remind the board, we've also contacted our solicitor about the situation at Armstrong and put him on notice that we're not satisfied with some of the work that we're seeing. We also contacted our insurance company to let them know that we're having issues there and sending them the appropriate information.
So there's been so much water that's been draining out of the units onto the carpet that it's absolutely destroyed carpets. So we are, right now, there's 8 rooms that have a carpeting totally removed, which really there was no choice but to do it. It was absolutely destroyed. What's being replaced is, we PCT is vinyl flooring, that it actually looks good. One of the rooms is completely done, it's like waxed, and the room's gonna be in much better condition than the start of the school. Any questions, Armstrong? I'm happy to address any.
These vinyl floors, right, you're saying the wax. There a problem that we had at one time where wax was used on the floor, or was this, we're using the correct wax?
The wrong way.
Yeah.
These
Yeah,
these
that
vinyl
was a
these vinyl tiles exist in many of our buildings. Many of our buildings.
I'm just even to get it on your radar, and at some point in time.
I'll find out tomorrow.
Yeah, there was just scratching the floors, and I think some kind of product was used on the floors, and we may have to wait a little more, so it's a possibility with someone to think about.
These vinyl tiles that we're using are pretty constructive. They're pretty good things, and it's gonna make cleanup real easy. And also, because when you're dealing also with issues with really breakfast in the classroom, it becomes a lot easier to clean vinyl tile than it does to clean carpet.
You know, that with the carpet floor, and the outside.
Oh, you mentioned,
West Intermediate is God's country. That's what we should say.
you mentioned that the new units have 35-year lifespan. I'm
Approximately.
unclear, are they at that point, or have they failed early?
No, there's 51.
Oh.
They're the original units.
So they're hanging in there.
Yes. I mean, it's hard to say. We did not get our dollar worth out of those units. I think that moving forward, I think a plan's got to be put in place of how we're going to address this in the long term. Certainly, you're not looking at replacing 40 units because that would be an astronomical number. But I think moving forward, when you start talking about budgeting for capital issues, I think we should look at a certain number a year again, prioritizing the place. I think that would make that building much more viable, as we move 10, 15, 20 years.
So we have talked about Douglas units, and we have a ballpark estimate about how much it would be to replace one. And the project would be about a $500,000 project. And that's ballpark before we have anything in writing.
And that's if you did the entire building. I mean, that's just a very, very rough number. But I think if you prioritize, like we had 8 units that were significantly bringing moisture into the building, we would identify that outside air dampers were stuck open, and really a lot of mechanical failure. It's a control issue. And when they're not working properly, you're bringing humidity into the building. And when they're not breathing properly, the humidity's going on, the moisture going on the floor. And those 8 units that are causing a significant issue. So if we started to look moving forward, and we're going to get those units under control within the next couple of weeks, but moving forward as we get into the next budget cycle, maybe that's something we have to look at in the capital budget. Those 8 units. I think that could potentially solve a lot of issues for next summer.
And I did talk with Dr. Finan today about a state resource that had been here before, looking at our buildings, and asked if our HVAC system, and asked if she could possibly get them back for us to take another look, now that the work has been done, and determine the situation that we're in at the current moment. What was the second one, Ms. Gilmore? The sprinklers at Scranton High.
I've learned more about sprinkler systems and corrosion than I ever thought I would. The assessment that's going on, I think it's AEK that's currently doing the assessment at Scranton High School. They're about 60% finished in doing their extensive assessment of that, and they found approximately 100 issues with this sprinkler system so far. There's extensive corrosion, and it's really at the joints of the system. You know, Dr. Kieran and I met with the engineers, with Plumbo, who was initially involved with this project, and they had an engineer with them that, which, when you saw the pictures, he said something very profound that didn't hit me. The corrosion's all on the outside of the pipes. If the corrosion was occurring inside, you wouldn't necessarily see it. It kind of, makes a little sense to me. And he thinks that potentially there's some environmental issues. And as it turns out, a good significant portion of the pipes that had, extensive corrosion, I think are located down in the cooling. Yes. Humidity, cool chemicals, there's a lot of things that go into play with that. So, we don't have a written report from them yet, but we're expecting. When we do get that report, it was recommended to us that we actually send a drawing of this piping out to a corrosion engineer to get a very specific reason as to why it's breaking down. And Because I think it's also a situation, if we jump right into just saying we're gonna replace it, but we don't know the cause, we don't know the cause. Ultimately, we have to.
Not just on the
And when
So
the
I'll show you
report
next
does
time
get
you're in
to
the
us,
back room.
the board will receive a copy.
Last meeting discussed this,
How much is that gonna
sheets
fix?
determine whether the pipes that are actually
It's tremendous amount.
That is taking
There's some that have
place.
already been done because they've already burst.
We had a meeting
And then there's
with,
some that can that
the
are just
engineers who work with that school. They're contacting the company
It
that
is
put
down in
in
the classroom.
the sprinkler system and trying to get the drawings and the specs for us so that we will have those and be able to determine if there was any fault with the pipes.
Is that anything I can keep on record?
They're held with our engineer, and the engineer at that time was Columbo.
Never can.
So we contacted him. No, they had those records. And we met with them, they came over and, we discussed everything, and they're getting all of the documentation prepared for us.
They didn't share with us that there's different levels of piping, but it might all also be okay for code. Like, if you had an ideal situation, they would use schedule 45. If they use schedule 10, which is set at wall, it's also compliance with code.
Yeah, I'm wondering if the pipe that was on the
Yeah, but
schedule.
maybe not in our price.
Was the same.
I don't know the answer to that.
And they also talked to us about the code has changed from the time that school was built and that sprinkler system was put in. And so at the time it was put in, it may have been the correct, under the correct code. But today it might be a different code. But we're going to determine all that and we'll discuss further with the board.
Specific pipe that we paid for was a specific pipe.
Yeah, I don't know the answer.
Also with like the spec sheets and like the schematics and blueprints and everything, I know we have to replace the steps. We happened upon a fault and when we had those documents on hand, the architect would have already known about that and never changed those at that time. So maybe it's the spec sheets and things that are already asking questions.
Most of the ones obviously in the new projects. Like I was receiving specs today, it's email, and, you know, now, you know, that we were trying to hunt down some plans on Scranton High School, and that's, you know, you almost find it piecemeal. Like, I don't know how well organized, you know, they were kept 20 years ago or not.
Ms. Gilmar, what was the next one?
The last one is the issue raised when dealing with policy 610, I believe, or purchases subject to bid or quotation.
Yes.
It has a caveat about taxes.
And we did research that for you, Mr. Lefty.
I just want to say one more thing. This young lady's been a rock star.
I was thinking that.
Thank you.
Yes, the instances you're referring to, my understanding is that the contract for those services was predated, I believe, the notification from E-Collect that we requested. All right, so now that being said, we contacted E-Collect to determine if their findings were in the dispute or appeal process. They had notified me that anyone on that list had, and I believe at their time, or a lot of time to appeal, and they had not appealed at that time. So we've asked E-Collect to update us on what the next steps are to resolve it. So at this time, we don't have those next steps, but we will report the board.
I certainly think it would be great to look into legal possibilities of withholding what is owed from the bill that.
We can review that with our solicitor.
And our solicitor is aware of it.
Yes, he's aware of it as well.